Would you be shocked if I told you that games journos are out there running defense for Sucker Punch and Ghost of Yōtei still, and having interviews with Erika Ishii, asking a lot of very softball questions and not diving into any actual questions that people really care about? Yeah, of course. That's what happened. Game Informer posted, "We spoke with Sucker Punch about casting Erika Ishii as Atsu in Ghost of Yōtei, how they influenced the development and writing of the character, and how improvisation was encouraged and often used in the final game." You can read the full spoiler-filled interview here. Oh, it's full of spoilers, guys. Oh, Ghost of Yōtei's creators on Atsu. "I see it as a chapter is done." Hopefully there's not going to be another chapter adding on to that one. Sucker Punch's impressive follow-up. Look at games journals. They just have to glaze. They have to. They cannot avoid it. This is what access media is. This is, if you watch the video talking about how when we interviewed that Park Place, joining forces with Geeks and Gamers, talking about how it's games journalism by gamers, covering the industry from a perspective of being real and raw and rational, not lapdogs to the industry like these people are. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. This first 5 words, Sucker Punch's impressive follow-up, right there. It's hard to even get past that. To Ghost of Tsushima has been in players' hands for about 2 weeks. Many have had the opportunity to see the narrative to its conclusion, ourselves included. So we caught up with the game's co-director, Jason Connell, and lead writer, Ian Ryan, to talk about the game's most interesting story elements, Easter eggs, and inquire about what might be next for Atsu. So you're telling me, who gives a fuck about Jin Sakai, what's happened next with Atsu? That's what we really care about. The game that's failing to sell even half as many copies, allegedly, of Tsushima. You're going to be talking about what's next for a character that no one wants to play as. Warning, the discussion below covers the entirety of Ghost of Yōtei's story, including its ending. Do not read if you have not finished the game. Oh my God. Let's jump right to the spoilers. The scene with Atsu playing music with Oyuku is, for me, the most affecting scene in the game. It really made me cry. What, lesbians playing on guitars? Can you tell me how that sequence came together and its goals? Going into that whole storyline, we really wanted to talk about and create a story where Atsu was forced to get to know a member of the Six, because typically she just wants to cut them down as quickly as possible. But we really wanted to force her to step out of her skin, to see the world through, in this case, Oyuku's eyes. Oh, was this one of those, hey guys, the bad guys really aren't that bad? Because if you just understand their perspective, maybe they're the good guys. Hey, maybe Antifa's not that bad. If you understand their perspective, maybe they're the good guys. I see the parallels here. And also just relate to someone on those terms, and to see that other people are also victims of Lord Sato. Again, read between the lines. They're all activists pushing activism and using dog whistle stuff to try to get there. Once you understand this and see it, you cannot unsee it. It's like reading The Matrix. There's nothing that fools me anymore when I read this shit. So that was the goal of the entire piece. And it really culminates in that moment when Atsu realizes who Oyuku is. And then they have the moment of training and the clash. And so much of it, really, we wanted just to challenge Atsu and see how far we could push her and honor her anger and her sense of betrayal. She was lied to. But we also really just wanted to explore, how does she react and why? At what point will she show some mercy? And even then, we wanted to show she is willing to be open to forgiveness. Oh God, I got to be honest. The more I find out about this game, the more I'm so glad I did not play it. But maybe not fully 100% forgiving Oyuku even in this moment, but recognize that she's been through similar pain and that she tried to help her as a child and allow Atsu to, in a way, heal a little bit and not just always reach for her sword and cross the name off her list in the name of death. In this case, there was the act of mercy that got her there. So really, it was all about Atsu's journey and exploring that in a different way than we did elsewhere. Okay. I got to be honest, guys. There ain't no way I'm going to be able to read through this entire article. There's just not. I'm going to skip down to the part because this is just so dry, so boring, and so just predictable, expected. Here we go. Here's what you care about. How was Erika Ishii cast, and how much influence did they have over the character? Is there room for improvisation when you're performing for a video game character? Jason, yes, in a lot of ways. Like Ian just mentioned, writing, workshopping, and there was workshops with Erika to try to help her find the character. I think that's an important part of the journey. What, installing an activist in it? You kind of have this idea from the very beginning, before Ian even writes anything. Maybe just co-director Nate and I have this idea for this type of character, and that gets a little bit more refined and exciting when Ian goes and writes something. And then we go through the casting process. We're looking for someone who could obviously depict the character that you've written, but also maybe has something else interesting that you weren't even thinking of, or that shows some of their flaws. And they wear it outwardly. And they're like, oh man, this is someone that we think could bring something interesting to this character. That is something we could write around. There's a softness to it. Even though we're making a wandering samurai archetype type of character, like Ian said, but seeing somebody that can show passion or comfort in a scene where maybe you didn't specifically write it in there, but they showcased it. What even is this? To us, that's sort of the stuff that gets us excited. I will say once we narrow it down to Atsu, I think we're pretty hopeful it would work out because we're excited about it. And then you go to a couple other stages of auditions, blah, blah, blah. Okay, there's a year figuring out a relationship of Erika to Atsu, bringing a lot of personality, a lot of choices, kind of evolves, and it's beautiful, creative thing that you're making together. Obviously, he's stage director of all our games, and a really good job bringing such characters out of not just Erika, but all of them. They all brought their best. Great. This is very cool and unexpected extended sequence about Jin Sakai that explains what happened to him after the events of Ghost of Tsushima. When was this sequence considered for the game? Holy shit. What a kick in the balls to people that wanted a Ghost of Tsushima too. Hey, we know you want a Tsushima 2, so instead we're going to give you a cutscene of what happens. Oh, God. I don't remember exactly where it came up. I would say it was earlier than it was late. I think once we knew that we were going to tell Atsu's story. She's this legend, this Ghost of Yōtei. It was really a lot of our efforts were going to be propping up really deep, intimate story of revenge. What you could have done that with Jin. Once we knew that, and it was in the can, we were really working hard to make that come to life. And we were thinking, well, okay, there's clearly a cool opportunity here with Jin. Yeah, I know. It was called Ghost of Tsushima 2. And I think the most common idea that got thrown around was the studio was playing into our own storytelling and mythics. The last game, we had these mythic legends, these stories of awesome warriors that are loosely sometimes crafted off real people. Sometimes they were completely fabricated. And, well, we can make our own. The Ghost of Tsushima. We can celebrate him in our own game. It was kind of fun. I think on our team, we love Jin, and we love that game. So it was the people that got to work on that were probably just delighted. They got to spend that time wrapping up his story and giving him a beautiful send-off. No, what are you doing? No, fire them all. What are you doing? Who thought this was a good idea? This is the most retarded direction to ever take a story. And that's coming from someone who played The Last of Us Part 2. What are they doing here? When people like me ask about fan theories of Jin being the spirit of the wolf ahead of release, was it hard to say, actually, he's more of a fox? Oh, God, I don't even care. I don't care. Do you consider Atsu's story complete? For me, I see it as a chapter done. But she has so much more in front of her. Holy shit. So Jin Sakai's story, they played a movie, played him off, and say, for Atsu, they got a whole game for her. Are we serious right now? Are we serious? my God, asking about DLC. How do you feel about the reception? Is it a relief to have the game out in the world? We just had our launch party, so I think we're all feeling really great. We got to see our colleagues and celebrate making something together. Games are super hard to make. There's a lot of them that don't even ever come out, let alone one that's an improvement in so many ways, uh, and massive step back in others. And people are loving the new choice. What people? Like, that's like saying no matter what you make, there are people loving something. Like, no matter what it is, what percentage of people are loving it? You're going to get criticism no matter what you do. Not true. Not true. There would be zero criticism for a follow-up of Ghost of Tsushima 2, playing the story out that everyone wanted, having him become the actual ghost. That would have been amazing. There would have been zero criticism with that. What the fuck are you talking about? If it's worth doing, somebody's probably not going to like something. Not true. Definitely not true. That's if you're an activist, you think it's worth doing. There's going to be a lot of people that disagree with it. For me, I think criticism is a gift. There's some people that are going to love what you make, and some people are maybe not going to like it. So all you can do, especially if you're really proud, which I'm immensely proud of what Ian's team has done. The art team has done the music. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of everyone on the team. Wow, that sounds pretty flamboyant. There's criticism nobody ever wants to hear. Oh, I didn't like X or I didn't like Y. Are we talking chromosomes here? It's not fun to hear that stuff, but it makes you get better creators, right? Because you think about perspective of that player or another player. Maybe it's just, okay, this person didn't like this because of this was maybe for that kind of player. So for me, it all evens out. A lot of it's just happiness. These people learned fucking nothing. Absolutely nothing. They are patting themselves on the back for a job poorly done. Maybe the game, by the way, maybe the game plays fine. Maybe it does. Maybe it if it was its own game on its own, not connected to the universe of Ghost, maybe there'd be a game to be found there. But the problem is, this is coming from Sucker Punch Studios that made a name for themselves with Tsushima and then pissed on it, kicked it to the curb, and brought in a girl boss to take the place of Jin Sakai, the main protagonist. So yeah, people aren't going to love that. They're going to push back quite a bit. And what the saddest part about this is that it feels like they're not going to be revisiting Tsushima 2 at all. How about you, Ian? Ian, how do you feel about Yotei being out in the world? Very similar, Jason. Extreme relief. It was a journey, so much fun. So glad it's out there. For the past month, just want to fast forward. And then pride. Oh, there's that word. In the team, because it's such a huge effort across so many teams. Which, by the way, to be fair, making a game, it is a lot of work across many teams, which is why you don't fuck it up with the premise, which is just also really exciting to myself because I'm seeing it built along the way. I also love Jin, but that's a big but. It was really exciting to be able to bring a new character to life and think about what her journey as a ghost might be. And then also seeing people's reaction to the more free and open world and how that experience stretched our muscles some. I mean, they could have done this. They could have done this with Jin. They could have had him go to the mainland. They could have done so many things. And we tried something new, and I think it worked really well. Yeah, you inserted a girl boss. That's nothing new. That's like an age-old trope of every single woke company these days. Insert girl boss. But yeah, I like seeing how we took some risks and how they're paying off and all the feedback as well. Like Jason mentioned, the pros and cons. I like to see what everyone's thinking just to learn from. Pride comes before the fall. Yeah, 100%. And then they go on talking about Sly Cooper, other Sucker Punch games. There we go. So yeah, that is Ghost of Yōtei and the creators of the game, the writers talking about how they're so prideful of this game getting out there and how Erika Ishii played a major role in forming the protagonist. So congratulations to Sucker Punch for taking a beloved property out back and shooting it. And unfortunately, now in this interview here, basically telling me that they have no intention to ever return to Jin Sakai's story. That's very depressing. It's so short-sighted. And it tells me, by the way, that these writers at the studio have way too much fucking power. Way too much. The creative control going to these writers, the woke writers, thinking that they know what's best for the stories instead of the studio itself. And Sony proper. Because if you recall, when Ghost of Yōtei first debuted at the State of Play with PlayStation, it was reported that Sony themselves was taken back that Atsu, the female protagonist in Ghost of Yōtei, was a girl. They allegedly were caught off guard with that. And that, if true, speaks volumes for the entire situation. But I'll leave that one there. Because my goodness, what a shit show that is.